Well, it's finally the end of another year for me. This time was pretty gosh dang long, though.
I see. Well, good work this year.
That's it.
Huh?
I want to hear more from you than just that, you old lady.
Well, in your case, you're an old man as well. Seems that once again you're going to find some way to try and come after me for my age, huh?
Oh, shut up, Joyce. I at least have the dignity to use some pretty good hair growth formulas to help me look younger again. Even after just 1 week, I've noticed 50 new hairs starting to grow back. Even after just 1 week, I've noticed 50 new hairs starting to grow back.
Well, it's been 35 years now that we've been married. Growing old at the same time is natural.
So that's how you see it then? Well, I've been trying my best to stay with you this long.
And I feel the same way with you.
You've only been my housewife this whole time, so don't act like you had as much of a hard time as I did.
But right now, you don't have a job. And as for me, I had times where I'd work a part-time job here and there to help us make extra money.
Yeah, and that all adds up to you working about 4 years total while we've been married. Unlike you, I had started working as a businessman all the way before we got married. And ever since then, I've been working in the same company all the way up until now.
And that's why I said good job to you for finally coming to retirement.
Well, today I'm going to go out and drink before coming home.
But weren't you coming home to eat burgers with me? I even bought a case of your favorite beer so that we can celebrate.
This is going to be all of my coworkers and managers throwing a party for me at a girls' bar downtown. And I'd really like to be there to say one final goodbye to all of them. They said the point of the girls' bar is to melt away all the years of stress I built up while working in the company. They do it for all the employees that make it to retirement there.
Well, since today was your final day, I wanted you to come home to me so that I could celebrate with you. I already got everything prepared for you and have been waiting. Are you really going to blow me off now?
Who cares, Joyce? I'll just eat those burgers you made tomorrow for breakfast and lunch.
Well, I wanted to do biscuits and gravy for breakfast tomorrow. You can burgers in the morning anyway, or else you'll have troubles on the toilet later in the day.
Stop acting like some old geezer that has all these body problems. Stop treating me like I have the same rundown body as you.
Well, if you want me to stop treating you like your age, then I ask that you at least don't go any more strip clubs after tonight.
I'm going to get a huge package from the company, so I'll have all the money in the world to go out and play with.
What are you talking about, Roy? We still have many years together with each other, so you can't just burn all that money on fun and games.
Stop trying to spoil my fun.
I'm just telling you the facts here.
Okay. Anyway, how has Frances been doing?
She's your daughter as well, you know? Why not just ask her yourself?
She's getting close to being 30 years old now, right? Does she have herself a good, caring man yet?
I just asked you to please ask her yourself. You still have all her contact information, right?
Anytime I try calling or texting her, she never answers me and just leaves my messages on read. Even though she always seems to like texting you.
Maybe she just hates you then. You have always acted like you had better things to do than focus on her, so she must have given up on being your daughter.
Well, it's not my fault for being the dad in the house and having to work all the time.
And that's your excuse for skipping out on her high school graduation, right?
I just didn't feel like being around you guys all day, and yet again, I had to focus on work. Anyway, I was just thinking that when I eventually do get really old, I'm going to need her back with me to take care of me when I'm all fragile and senile.
Right now, you shouldn't be talking like that.
Well, I just made it to the bar. Now I'm going to head in and have a wonderful night with all these young women.
Please don't get too carried away.
Dad's getting retired now, right?
He's really acting like he's some big shot because of it, though. All I did was say good job to him, and he acted like that wasn't enough for all the hard work he put in.
You really have to deal with a man-child, huh, Mom? I can't even begin to think of still hanging around a dad like him, so I'm sure life has been kicking your butt having to care for him.
Well, I was the one that chose that man. And I guess that was because at the time he wasn't such an awful person to be around. And even now, he may be insufferable at times, but he hasn't really done anything that's gone way out of line. Well, except one thing.
Him cheating?
Well, he tends to go to strip clubs more often than I'd like, but hopefully after last night, he'll be done with all of that.
Hey, Mom. I have something I'd like to talk to you about.
What's that?
Well, maybe it's better that I don't tell you.
Well, you've already gotten me interested, so please tell me.
I'm not 100 sure about this, but a little bit ago I saw someone that looked like Dad, and he was with a young girl walking together down the street. I had only seen the two of them from behind, but I'm pretty sure the man I saw was Dad.
Really? It wasn't just one of the girls from the bar or something he was with?
I'm not really sure about that. Well, she seemed to be really young and was a bit on the gaudy side.
You're kidding, right? I was really hoping that he wasn't going to take any girls out.
I'm sorry. There's still a chance that who I saw wasn't Dad with some young girl. So it's better that you just forget this.
Did you talk with your dad about this yet?
Why would I ask him? And even if I did, he'd probably just treat me like an idiot and lie or something.
Right? I'm sure if I were to ask him about this, he'd do the same thing.
Well, if you really are worried about this, maybe you can ask some people about him and see what they all say. Do a little investigating, perhaps?
Well, even if I did want to look into it more, I don't know where to even start.
What are you going to do then?
Well, for the time being, when your dad gets home today, I'll take a moment to ask him about this. I'm sure he'll get angry with me, though.
All right, but just know that this could all be a mistake on my part, and that person wasn't even him.
I know. Thank you for letting me know about this, Francis. I'll get back in touch with you later.
Just know that whatever he tries to do to you, I'll always be here to back you up.
Francis, something that I never could have imagined has happened.
What's that?
Well, your dad just got home a second ago, and, well,
What's wrong? Did he hurt you?
no, not physically or anything.
Then what?
He brought a young girl back home with him, and that's not all he has done. He even brought home some divorce paperwork with him. He even went ahead and started to fill everything out for me.
What the heck?
He says that as he goes into retirement, he sees himself with a much younger woman and no longer needs a grandma like me around. And that's why we are getting divorced. And after leaving the papers with me, he ran off somewhere with that young woman.
That frickin' loser! I'm going to go out looking for him right now, and I'll show him what happens when he hurts my mom.
Wait. If you had to get taken into custody by the police for doing something crazy to your dad, I'd never be able to live with myself.
But we can't let him get away with this. You had even helped care for that monster for over 35 years now. And he plans to just stab you in the back now.
I'm not going to forgive him for this, Francis. I was even starting to imagine myself grabbing a kitchen knife and stabbing. Those two, when he first started saying all that crap to me,
Wait, hold on, Mom.
I was getting so worked up in that moment that I could have done anything to those two.
I know, but you can't go out stabbing people like that.
Don't worry, I won't. I think he has just made a really huge misunderstanding, is all.
Huh?
He said to me that all of that retirement money is going to go to him, as well as the package he got from the company. But he'd be willing to pay any settlement to me that I ask for since he has all that money now.
And
I think that he is mistaken about any settlements as well. That's why I chose not to stab him and that girl in the end. I think I'm just gonna hand in those divorce papers and then let him run off.
that seems like the only good option now, huh? But I still think you should get some evidence from this to show that he had cheated on you before the divorce. Then you'll at least have something to hold against him in case things become worse between you guys.
Alright. Also, I have something that I'd like to ask of you. Do you think you can let me come stay over at your place for a little while? I don't want to be in this house any longer.
Of course. I was thinking of saying the same thing to you.
Thank you. And just to be sure, this is not me saying that I'm gonna let a man like that win, especially after the things he's done to me.
I know. I think that this is where I'm drawing the line and no longer calling him my dad.
And Francis, I'm sorry things had to turn out this way between your parents.
Why the heck are you apologizing to me? We both know that the one who needs to apologize is Roy.
That's right.
Who even cares about him retiring? If anything, I want to be congratulating you for having to put up with that child for so long.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna start getting all of my things packed and ready to go. And please don't feel like you need to do anything special for me while I stay at your place.
Okay,
I see that you decided to go run off to Francis's place to stay for a while, huh?
Why do you know that?
I just got a text from Francis herself saying that you'd be staying with her now.
I see. Well, it doesn't matter now because I've already handed in the divorce paperwork.
Oh, you getting that done that fast is perfect.
I won't be coming back to that apartment anymore, by the way. So you'll be on your own now, paying the rent for that place?
I was already planning on it before you even brought it up. And now I'll have my new girl here to help me.
Great. But will you be okay?
What do you mean by that?
Having to pay for that place, utility fees on top of the rent with only your retirement money could get pretty tight, right?
How many times do I have to say this to you? I'm going to have all sorts of money with my retirement and the package I've gotten from the company. However, it will take 1 to 2 months for that all to get to me. What?
I knew it. You really have made a huge mistake, Roy. You will be getting retirement money and all of that, but do you even know how much you'll be getting every month?
I'm thinking around 200,000 or so in total. I was a great businessman after all for the company and made sure to keep a 400 mark with them.
Have you checked with that company to make sure of that?
I don't have to. Seems pretty selfish of me to walk in there after I'm already gone asking about my money.
You are such an idiot. There's no way you'd be getting 200,000 from that company as your retirement package on top of whatever else you get.
Well, I guess 200,000 is a bit much, but somewhere in the ballpark of 150,000 is right?
When you got married to me, there were short times where you left your work and picked up a part-time job, saying you'd be back with them after a few months.
And what about that?
I know that you had been an employee within that company for a long time, but with all the times you left to try something new or take a break from work, how long do you actually think you were with that company?
Well, the last stretch was 10 years or so.
Then that would mean you'll only be getting around 10,000 from them.
Huh? Why would that happen? I looked into all of this before I retired.
How?
I looked up on Google the amount of money a businessman would make in retirement from their company after around 35 years being there. And that's where I learned I'd be getting around 200,000.
That's for people that never took half-year breaks from the company they worked for to take time off or to work another part-time job. In your case, your last 10 years were the longest you ever worked there, and so that's where you'll be getting your retirement from.
Are you serious about me only getting 10,000?
Yeah. Since you had left so many times on those so-called breaks, your retirement was restarted since the company had to technically rehire you every time you came back to them. So 10,000 seems about right.
But if that happens, then all of my plans are going to really hit a brick wall.
You said that you plan to have fun with that young woman and live together, right? Even if you're not going to have to pay a settlement to me, you're still not going to make it very far with that 10-0 package and whatever else you get in retirement.
I'll still be able to pay you if you try and ask for anything.
Well, I wasn't planning on asking, but since you seem to think you can pay a settlement off that I asked for, would you like to know how much my lawyer said I could get?
Probably around 5,000.
Is that the number you got from Google as well?
No, that's what I heard from one of my coworkers that had gotten a divorce. He said he had to pay his ex 4,000.
Normally, the settlement in a divorce case is based on how long the married couple was together for. And of course, the reason for the divorce also weighs in on the amount one owes.
Then are you saying I'll have to pay you more?
We had been together for over 30 years, and the reason for the divorce was because you cheated on me. So that will come out to around 30,000 if I choose to get money from you.
You have added an extra zero in there somewhere.
Now, don't get all worked up, Roy. You told me you'd be able to pay off however much I asked for from you before, right?
Now just wait. With just the package, I'll still be 20,000 in the negative after paying you.
So you can do some math after all.
I'm going to take back everything I said earlier. I will not be paying any money to you.
Paying me or not paying me isn't something you get to decide here. And if you think you can fight me in court, just know that I had investigated into you a little bit and have a lot of evidence against you. So don't even bother trying.
What the hell, Joyce? You did all of that behind my back?
With the help of Frances, of course. And right now, she just got back. She says she has something she'd like to say to you.
Huh?
What's up, old man?
Francis, is that you?
Isn't it a bit embarrassing to be cheating on mom with other women at such an old age? I'm surprised you'd do that to mom after all the years of having to clean up your messes and looking after you. This has to be one of the worst backstabbings I've heard about in such a long time.
Well, no, I just happened to get a little carried away when I saw that I could be getting 200,000 from retiring.
This isn't the time to joke around, Roy. I'm gonna let you know this now, since mom is no longer around you. But the day you walked into that house with your little dressed up girlfriend asking her to divorce you, mom was thinking of grabbing a kitchen knife and stabbing the both of you.
Huh?
But she knew that you had made a huge misunderstanding. And instead of getting herself put in prison for that, she'd just let you find out how bad you screwed up on your own. Are you? No. What? This was all because of you being an idiot and not because you thought you were better than mom?
What?
And by the way, Roy, I've already disowned you from being my dad. Just thinking that you were once my dad makes me sick to my stomach.
Wait a second, Francis. Who's going to be around to look after me as I become an old man in another 10 years?
I don't care. I know better than to ever let myself into that position because you'd probably treat me the same way as you treated mom. And I'm not into that.
But you shouldn't care what happened between your mom and me because you and I have a different relationship.
You really are the perfect person to be called the idiot of the year. If you're so worried about not having anyone to care for you when you can't wipe your own butt anymore, why not just have your young girlfriend do it for you,
I just asked her and she said she won't do that.
right? Uh, After all, that girl already has another boyfriend that she's focused on.
What?
She used to work at a strip club and is named Mary, right? I was able to find all sorts of things out about her online.
Stop trying to make me doubt her. There's no way Mary has another man.
Do you think she only came close to you so that she could get her hands on that retirement money of yours? You must have told her about the 200,000, right?
Huh? As I was focused on this conversation, it seems Mary ran off somewhere. She was just sitting next to me watching our conversation, and now she's gone.
I bet she ran away from you. Well, then I'm doing the same because I don't want anything to do with you anymore, right? I'm handing the phone back to mom now. Have you started to understand the situation you're in now?
I've learned that I really screwed up this time and a huge idiot.
Good job, Roy. But I think it's too late to be understanding all of this now.
Joyce, can you at least rethink asking for that settlement?
Well, before I wasn't going to ask, but after this long conversation, I think I have to make sure you learn your lesson.
Well, then, can you at least ask Francis not to cut ties with me, please?
Definitely not. Can't you give up on trying to mend the bridges you destroyed already?
Please forgive me, Joyce.
I'd like you to enjoy the rest of your life becoming a very lonely old man. Okay? Goodbye.
Wait, please, Joyce.
I got back in touch with my lawyer and told him to go ahead with the settlement for 30,000. That young girl, Mary, ran as far as she could, away from the moneyless grandpa that had promised her so much. From there, Roy had to leave the nice apartment we had together and moved into a really old and narrow apartment on the east side of town. You might think this would have been the end for that geezer, but it turns out that he was able to find one of his older girlfriends and started stalking her. Of course, she found out really fast that he was always near her and soon had the police called to come carry him away. Roy really must love making people hate him or something because he just can't get enough of causing trouble. As for me, I'm now continuing to live with my daughter. I have found myself a new part-time job and was told that I could start looking for a new place of my own to move into. But she'd rather me just stay with her forever if it was all right. So I guess I can stay with her for a few more years and find new ways to enjoy my life without having to be tied to some rude old man.